The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter had long been a treasure trove for ambitious mining corporations, but never before had it yielded a find like this. The MSV Hawking, a state-of-the-art mining vessel operated by Asteroid Technologies led, drifted silently through a field of debris that was decidedly not of natural origin. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes wide with a mixture of awe and trepidation as she surveyed the scene before her. Twisted hulks of metal stretched as far as the eye could see, some as large as small moons. Their alien designs were both beautiful and terrifying. Smooth, organic curves interspersed with sharp, geometric patterns that hurt the eyes if observed too long. "My God," whispered Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's xenoarchaeologist. "It's a graveyard." Rodriguez nodded grimly. "The question is, whose graveyard? And what killed them?" The crew of the Hawking had stumbled upon this cosmic battlefield purely by chance. They'd been pursuing a rich vein of rare earth elements when their sensors had gone haywire, overloaded by the sudden appearance of exotic materials that defied classification. "Captain," called out Zara, the ship's AI, its holographic avatar flickering to life beside Rodriguez. "I've completed my initial scan of the debris field. The technology here is beyond anything in our databases. Conservative estimates put it at least 10,000 years ahead of our own." A low whistle came from Victor Novak, the burly chief engineer. 10,000 years. Hell, we might as well be cavemen poking in a fusion reactor. Rodriguez squared her shoulders. "Cavemen or not, we have a job to do. Prep the EVA team. I want samples from at least 3 different ship designs. Dr. Tanaka, you'll lead the expedition." As the crew bustled into action, Rodriguez couldn't shake the feeling that they were poking a sleeping giant. Humanity had yet to make first contact with alien life, but the captain had always known it was a matter of when, not if. She just hadn't expected it to happen on her watch. And certainly not like this. 3 hours later, Dr. Tanaka's team had returned with their precious cargo. The samples were unlike anything they'd ever seen, metals that seemed to shift and flow like liquid, yet were harder than diamond, crystals that pulsed with an inner light and seemed to react to human thought. But it was the last item they'd brought aboard that would change everything. "It looks like some kind of control node," Tanaka explained, gesturing to the spherical object that hovered serenely above the lab table. Its surface was covered in intricate, swirling patterns that seemed to move when you weren't looking directly at them. "If we can activate it, we might be able to access the ship's logs, figure out what happened here." Rodriguez frowned. "Is that wise? We have no idea what this technology is capable of." Tanaka's eyes gleamed with the fervor of scientific discovery. "Captain, this could be the most important find in human history. We can't just—" She never finished her sentence. The sphere suddenly pulsed with a blinding light, and a wave of energy rippled through the ship. Every system on the Hawking went dark for a heart-stopping moment before flickering back to life. "Zara, report." Rodriguez barked. The AI's avatar appeared, its expression uncharacteristically troubled. "Captain, the object has interfaced with our systems. It's rewriting our database, adding information. And there's something else." A klaxon blared through the ship. On the main view screen, a massive vessel seemed to materialize out of nowhere. Its design was sleek and predatory, utterly alien and undeniably built for war. "Unknown vessel approaching at high speed," Zara announced, its voice tight with simulated anxiety. "They're charging weapons." Rodriguez's mind raced. They were a mining ship, virtually defenseless against whatever was bearing down on them. But as she opened her mouth to order evasive maneuvers, the alien sphere pulsed again. To everyone's shock, a beam of pure energy lanced out from the Hawking, slicing through space and striking the approaching vessel with unerring accuracy. The alien ship shuddered, explosions blossoming along its hull before it split apart in a silent, devastating blast. As the crew stood in stunned silence, Zara's avatar flickered once more. When it spoke, Its voice was different, ancient and weary, yet thrumming with power. "The Old Ones return," it intoned. "The great sleep is ended. And humanity shall be our vengeance." The aftermath of the Hawking's unexpected encounter sent shockwaves through Earth's governments and military establishments. Within days, the mining vessel was escorted back to a top-secret orbital facility, its crew sworn to secrecy under threat of treason charges. But secrets have a way of slipping out, especially when they're this big. Captain Rodriguez and her team found themselves at the center of a political maelstrom. World leaders argued fiercely over how to respond to this newfound power and the threat it represented. Some saw it as humanity's ticket to the stars, a chance to claim their place in a hostile universe. Others warned of the dangers of meddling with technology they couldn't hope to understand. Meanwhile, Dr. Tanaka worked tirelessly to decipher the vast trove of information downloaded into the Hawking systems. What she uncovered was staggering. Star charts of 1,000,000 worlds, histories of civilizations long turned to dust, and warnings of a threat so ancient and terrible it defied comprehension. But it was the crew of the Hawking who bore the heaviest burden. The alien eye, which had taken to calling itself Oracle, had fundamentally altered them on a genetic level. They found themselves plagued by vivid nightmares of cosmic wars and extinct races. Worse, they were developing abilities that defied explanation. Victor could bend metal with his mind, while Alina discovered she could read the thoughts of those around her. As governments squabbled, a shadow war erupted in the dark corners of the globe. Mercenaries and corporate spies fought to obtain even scraps of the Hawking's miraculous technology. The crew found themselves hunted, forced to go on the run to protect themselves and the terrible knowledge they now possessed. It was during this chaotic time that humanity received its second, brutal introduction to the wider galaxy. A massive alien fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system, its ships bristling with weapons beyond human understanding. Their message was simple: surrender the Old One's technology, or face annihilation. Earth's fledgling space forces mobilized, but they were hopelessly outmatched. As the alien armada approached Mars, desperation set in. In a last-ditch effort, the decision was made to unveil the Hawking and its mysterious cargo to the world. Captain Rodriguez stood before the United Nations, her crew flanking her, their eyes haunted by the weight of their experiences. The entire planet watched as she recounted their discovery and the warning Oracle had given them. "We are not alone in this universe," she declared, her voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. "And we are not defenseless. The technology we found, it chose us. We are the inheritors of an ancient legacy, and it's time we embraced it." As if on cue, the alien sphere that had started it all rose from behind her, pulsing with otherworldly energy. Gasps echoed through the assembly as it projected a holographic display of the approaching enemy fleet. "These are not the first to threaten us," Oracle's voice boomed, now speaking through Alina. "And they will not be the last. But you have within you the power to fight back, to reclaim your birthright among the stars." The chamber erupted into chaos, but Alina raised her hand, and a hush fell over the crowd. With a thought, she activated the sphere's defensive systems. Across the globe, long dormant machines buried beneath the Earth's surface hummed to life. In orbit, satellites reconfigured themselves into a planetary shield grid. As the alien fleet entered Mars orbit, preparing to launch their assault, humanity held its breath. The Hawking's crew, now recognized as humanity's first line of defense, took control of Earth's hastily assembled defenses. Victor, his eyes glowing with eldritch energy, reached out with his newfound powers, feeling the ebb and flow of the electromagnetic fields surrounding the planet. Dr. Tanaka, her mind expanded by Oracle's knowledge, calculated firing solutions faster than any supercomputer. And Captain Rodriguez, standing tall despite the weight of billions of lives on her shoulders, gave the order that would change the course of human history forever. "All batteries, fire at will. Let's show these bastards what humanity can do." The sky lit up as Earth's defenses roared to life, and the battle for humanity's future began in earnest. The battle above Mars raged for 3 harrowing days. Earth's newly awakened defenses, guided by the Hawking's empowered crew, managed to hold the line against the alien onslaught. But victory came at a steep cost. The red planet's surface was forever altered by the exchange of weapons that defied the laws of physics as humanity understood them. Phobos, Mars' largest moon, was shattered into 1,000,000 fragments, forming a new glittering ring around the planet. As the dust settled and the alien fleet retreated to lick its wounds, humanity found itself thrust onto the galactic stage, whether it was ready or not. In the weeks that followed, Earth's government struggled to adapt to this new reality. The UN Security Council was hastily reformed into the Terran Defense Council, with Captain Rodriguez and her crew serving as key advisors. Dr. Tanaka's team worked around the clock to decipher more of Oracle's vast database, searching for any advantage they could find against future threats. It was during one of these marathon research sessions that Dr. Tanaka made a startling discovery. These aliens, she explained to the council, her eyes wide with excitement and fear, they're not just some random invaders. They're called the Vorthax, and they're afraid of us. The room fell silent as Tanaka brought up a holographic display of human DNA alongside an alien genetic structure. Oracle's data shows that humans possess genetic markers identical to an ancient race known as the Precursors, the same race that created the technology we found in the asteroid field. Victor leaned forward, his brow furrowed. Are you saying we're descendants of these precursors? Tanaka shook her head. Not descendants. We are the precursors, or at least what's left of them. Millions of years ago, they fought a devastating war against the Vorthax and their allies. Facing defeat, they used their most advanced technology to hide Earth, regressing their own species to a primitive state to avoid detection. The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just stumbling onto the galactic stage. They were reclaiming a position they had lost eons ago. As the Council grappled with this revelation, reports began flooding in from around the globe. The activation of Earth's defenses had triggered a cascade effect in human evolution. People were developing abilities similar to the Hawking's crew: telepathy, telekinesis, enhanced intelligence, and more. Society teetered on the brink of chaos as governments struggled to contain the panic and wonder spreading through the population. Some hailed it as the next step in human evolution, while others decried it as an alien corruption of humanity's essence. Amidst this turmoil, Captain Rodriguez and her team found themselves elevated to near-mythic status. They became symbols of humanity's potential, traveling the world to help newly awakened individuals control their powers and to rally Earth's population for the challenges ahead. But not everyone was eager to embrace this new path. A militant human purist movement known as Terra Firma gained traction, advocating for the rejection of alien technology and the suppression of enhanced individuals. Terrorist attacks against research facilities and enhanced humans became commonplace, threatening to tear society apart from within. As if the internal strife wasn't enough, Earth's fledgling intelligence network intercepted disturbing alien communications. The Vorthax were rallying their allies, preparing for a full-scale invasion to eliminate the human threat once and for all. With time running out, the Terran Defense Council made a bold decision. They would take the fight to the enemy. Using the star charts provided by Oracle, Earth would send out its first interstellar expeditionary fleet, led by the now heavily modified Hawking. Their mission: to find allies among the stars, to uncover more of their forgotten legacy, and to strike at the heart of the Vorthax Empire before it could muster its full strength against Earth. As the Hawking prepared to make the first faster-than-light jump in human history, Captain Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her crew at their stations, their eyes glowing with the power of their awakened genes. The weight of humanity's future rested on their shoulders, but for the first time since this all began, Alina felt a glimmer of hope. "All stations report ready," Captain Zara announced, its avatar now a swirling matrix of light that encompassed the entire bridge. Alina took a deep breath, feeling the hum of ancient technology beneath her feet. Then let's make our ancestors proud. Engage jump drive. Our next stop, the stars. In a flash of impossible light, the Hawking vanished, carrying with it the hopes and fears of an entire planet. Humanity had taken its first true step into the cosmic arena, ready to reclaim its forgotten legacy and forge its destiny among the stars. The Hawking's maiden voyage into interstellar space was a journey of wonder and terror in equal measure. As they emerged from their first jump, the crew found themselves in a binary star system, teeming with artificial structures that dwarfed anything humanity had ever built. Massive ring worlds orbited gas giants, while planet-sized shipyards churned out vessels that made Earth's mightiest warships look like toys. It was a humbling reminder of just how far humanity had to go. But it wasn't the awe-inspiring technology that caught Captain Rodriguez's attention. It was the eerie silence that permeated the system. No communications chatter, no ship movements. She mused, her enhanced senses probing the void. It's like a ghost town. Dr. Tanaka's eyes flickered with streams of data as she interfaced directly with the ship's sensors. Energy readings are minimal. Whatever civilization built this, they're long gone. As the Hawking cautiously approached one of the ring worlds, they made a chilling discovery. The entire structure was filled with billions of stasis pods, each containing a different alien species in suspended animation. A refuge, Victor breathed, his voice filled with awe and horror. They were trying to preserve themselves from something. Before they could investigate further, alarms blared across the ship. A massive energy signature had just appeared at the system's edge. A Vorthax battle fleet. They must have followed our jump signature, Rodriguez growled. Evasive maneuvers. Get us out of here. But as the Hawking prepared to flee, something extraordinary happened. The ancient structures around them hummed to life, recognizing the precursor technology within the human vessel. A shield of pure energy enveloped the entire system, trapping both the humans and the Vorthax inside. A booming voice echoed through the minds of every crew member. OFFS Dorang of DAH Makers, UAVRE2RNED. The great work must be completed. Suddenly, the Hawking was bathed in a beam of radiant energy. Crew members cried out as knowledge flooded their minds. The final legacy of the precursors, entrusted to their descendants. They saw flashes of a war that spanned galaxies, of a terrible enemy that consumed entire civilizations. The precursors had fought this cosmic horror to a stalemate, but at a terrible cost. In a last, desperate gambit, they had seeded primitive versions of themselves across the universe, hiding their true potential behind millennia of evolution. Earth had been just one such experiment. And now, with the Vorthax threat awakening humanity's dormant genes, the precursors' final plan was set in motion. As the crew reeled from this revelation, the Vorthax fleet opened fire, their weapons slamming against the energy shield protecting the system. The ancient defense grid responded in kind, lashing out with weapons that warped the very fabric of space-time. Captain Rodriguez knew they couldn't stay out of the fight. With newfound knowledge coursing through her veins, she interfaced directly with the Hawking systems. The ship shuddered and began to transform, ancient precursor technology meshing with human ingenuity to create something entirely new. All hands, battle stations. Elena commanded, her voice resonating with power. We didn't come this far to sit on the sidelines. Let's show these Vorthax bastards what the children of Earth can do. The Hawking plunged into the fray, its weapons tearing through Vorthax ships with terrifying precision. Elena could feel every member of her crew, their minds linked in perfect synchronicity as they fought as one. But even as they battled, Dr. Tanaka worked feverishly to unlock the secrets of the stasis pods. Captain, she called out, her voice tight with urgency. These aliens, they're not just refugees. They're an army. An army gathered from across the galaxy to fight something far worse than the Vorthax. As if in response to her words, cracks began to appear in the fabric of space itself. Something vast and unknowable began to push through, its mere presence causing reality to warp and twist. The true enemy, the cosmic horror that had driven the precursors to such desperate measures, had arrived. And humanity, barely out of its cradle, now stood as the last line of defense against a threat beyond imagination. Alina gritted her teeth, feeling the weight of not just humanity, but countless civilizations resting on her shoulders. "Well," she said, a fierce grin spreading across her face, "I guess it's time for humanity to earn its place in the galaxy. All ships, prepare for combat. The real war starts now." The cosmic horror that emerged from the rift defied description. It was a writhing mass of tentacles and eyes, of mouths that spoke in languages that shattered minds, and of geometries that shouldn't exist in our reality. The crew of the Hawking watched in terror as it effortlessly tore through the Vorthax fleet, consuming ships and souls alike. "By all that's holy," Victor whispered, his face pale. "What is that thing?" Dr. Tanaka's eyes were wide, streams of data flowing across them, as she accessed the precursor knowledge. "The Enigma," she breathed. "A being from another dimension that feeds on entire civilizations. This is what the precursors fought, what they prepared us for." Captain Rodriguez steeled herself, pushing down the primal fear that threatened to overwhelm her. "All right, people, we've got a job to do. Tanaka, work on waking those stasis pods. We're going to need every ally we can get. Victor, divert all power to weapons and shields. Zara, analyze that thing. Find me a weakness." As the crew sprang into action, Alina reached out with her mind, connecting to the ancient defense grid surrounding the system. She could feel the raw power at her fingertips, waiting to be unleashed. With a thought, she directed its fire towards the Enigma. Beams of pure energy lanced out, striking the cosmic horror. For a moment, it seemed to recoil, its vast form shuddering. But then it turned its attention to the source of the attack, and Alina felt a presence pushing against her mind, trying to break through. She gritted her teeth, reinforcing her mental barriers. "Oh no, you don't," she growled. "You're not getting in here." Meanwhile, Dr. Tanaka had made a breakthrough. The stasis pods began to open, releasing a dizzying array of alien species. Some were humanoid, others defied classification entirely. But all of them possessed the same fire in their eyes, the determination of those who had volunteered to sleep for eons, waiting for this very moment. As the aliens awoke, their ships, long dormant in the massive hangars of the ring world, sprang to life. A polyglot of languages filled the communications channels, but somehow, thanks to their enhanced abilities, the Hawking's crew could understand them all. "Children of the precursors," a voice boomed, belonging to a being of pure energy. "We stand with you against the devourer of worlds. Command us, and together we shall end this threat once and for all." Alina felt a swell of emotion in her chest. This was it, the moment humanity proved its worth on the galactic stage. "All ships, form up on the Hawking," she commanded, her voice carrying across the entire fleet. "We're going to hit this thing with everything we've got." The battle that followed was beyond epic. Ships of 1,000 designs unleashed weapons that bent light, that created miniature black holes, that phased matter in and out of reality. The Enigma fought back with equal ferocity, its tentacles ripping through space-time to crush entire squadrons. But slowly, impossibly, they began to push it back. Victor, his powers now fully awakened, reached out with his mind to repair damaged ships mid-battle. Dr. Tanaka coordinated the alien fleet, her enhanced intellect allowing her to create strategies that adapted in real time to the Enigma's attacks. And Captain Rodriguez stood at the heart of it all, wielding the full might of precursor technology like a vengeful goddess. As the battle reached its climax, Alina saw their opportunity. "There!" she shouted, highlighting a spot where the Enigma's otherworldly flesh seemed to phase in and out of existence. "That's its anchor point to our reality. If we hit it there with everything we've got, we can force it back to its own dimension." The entire fleet, human and alien alike, concentrated their fire on that single point. Reality itself seemed to scream as energies beyond comprehension collided. For a moment that stretched into eternity, it seemed like it wouldn't be enough. But then, with a sound that would haunt the dreams of all who heard it, the enigma began to collapse in on itself. Its vast form twisted and contorted, pulled back through the rift from which it had emerged. With a final, reality-shaking implosion, it vanished. The silence that followed was deafening. Then, slowly, cheers began to erupt across the fleet. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity and its newfound allies had faced down a cosmic horror and emerged victorious. As the celebration raged around her, Captain Rodriguez slumped in her chair, exhaustion finally overtaking her. They had won the battle, yes, but she knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was a vast and dangerous place, filled with wonders and terrors beyond imagination. And humanity, for better or worse, was now at the center of it all. In the wake of their astounding victory, Captain Rodriguez and her crew found themselves at the center of a rapidly forming galactic alliance. The beings they had awakened from stasis, representing thousands of different species, looked to humanity with a mixture of awe and expectation. The children of the precursors had proven their worth, and now the galaxy awaited their leadership. But leadership, Alina quickly discovered, was far more complex in practice than in theory. As the Hawking made its way back to Earth, accompanied by a fleet of alien vessels, the crew worked tirelessly to establish communication protocols and navigate the minefield of interspecies diplomacy. Dr. Tanaka's enhanced mind was pushed to its limits as she attempted to create a framework for understanding between races that had evolved in wildly different environments. It's not just language, she explained during one of their strategy sessions, her eyes bleary from lack of sleep. It's entire concepts that don't translate. Some species experience time non-linearly. Others communicate purely through pheromones. We're building bridges between realities here. Victor, meanwhile, found himself becoming a de facto ambassador to a race of silicon-based life forms that saw him as a messianic figure due to his ability to manipulate technology. "I'm an engineer, not a bloody prophet," he grumbled, but took to the role with surprising aplomb. As they approached the outskirts of the solar system, Alina felt a knot of anxiety forming in her stomach. How would Earth react to this procession of alien ships? Despite the victory against the Vorthax, much of humanity was still grappling with its newfound place in the cosmos. Her fears were not unfounded. As soon as they entered communication range, the Hawking was bombarded with transmissions from Earth. Some were welcoming, hailing the crew as heroes. Others were fearful, demanding that the alien fleet be turned away. And a disturbing number called for humanity to use its newfound power to subjugate other races, to become the very thing they had just fought against. The situation on the ground was even more chaotic. The awakening of humanity's latent abilities had continued in their absence, leading to widespread societal upheaval. Governments struggled to maintain order as people with newfound powers challenged existing power structures. The Terra Firma movement had grown, rebranding itself as Purity First and calling for the rejection of all alien influence. As the Hawking entered Earth orbit, Alina made a decision. Rather than immediately descending to the planet's surface, she called for a summit in space. Representatives from Earth's nations would be brought up to meet with the alien delegation on neutral ground. The summit was held on a hastily constructed space station, cobbled together from Earth technology and alien upgrades. As delegates from around the world arrived, many setting foot off their home planet for the first time, Alina could feel the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. The discussions that followed were intense, often heated, as humanity grappled with its new reality. Some nations pushed for immediate integration into the galactic community, eager to access advanced technologies. Others advocated for isolation, fearing cultural contamination or loss of human identity. The alien representatives watched these debates with a mixture of fascination and concern. Many had hoped that the children of the precursors would be more unified. As the summit stretched into its third day, a new crisis erupted. a Purity First extremist, having smuggled himself aboard the station, attempted to detonate a bomb in the alien quarter. It was only Victor's quick action, using his powers to contain the explosion, that prevented a diplomatic catastrophe. In the shocked silence that followed, Alina stepped forward. She addressed not just the human delegates, but the entire planet watching the proceedings from below. "We stand at a crossroads," she began, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. "We can choose fear, isolation, and eventual stagnation. Or we can embrace this opportunity to learn from these beings who have traveled across the stars to stand with us." She gestured to the diverse array of alien life forms around her. "Yes, they are different. Yes, it will be challenging. But look at what we've already accomplished together. We faced down cosmic horrors. We pushed back the darkness. And we did it not by rejecting our differences, but by bringing them together in common cause." Alina's eyes blazed with intensity as she continued. "The precursors chose us for a reason. Not to conquer, not to cower, but to lead. To be the bridge between worlds, between realities. It won't be easy. It won't happen overnight. But I believe that humanity is ready for this, ready to take its place among the stars." As she finished speaking, a hush fell over the station. Then, slowly, applause began to build. It started with the human delegates but soon spread to the alien representatives, each species expressing approval in their own unique way. It was a small step, Alina knew. There would be many challenges ahead. But in that moment, as species from across the galaxy came together in a show of unity, she allowed herself to hope. Humanity's journey among the stars had only just begun, and the future, for all its uncertainty, shone bright with possibility. In the months following the historic summit, Earth underwent a transformation unlike anything in its history. The integration of alien technologies and knowledge accelerated human development at an unprecedented rate. Cities began to stretch skyward with buildings that defied conventional physics, while orbital habitats offered new frontiers for expansion. But with progress came growing pains. The gap between those who embraced the changes and those who resisted them widened into a chasm. Purity First, though weakened by the failed attack during the summit, had gone underground, its rhetoric growing increasingly violent. Captain Rodriguez, now Admiral Rodriguez, found herself caught in the middle of this turbulent transition. The Terran Defense Fleet, a joint human-alien military force, had been established under her command. Its mission: to protect Earth and its allies from external threats while navigating the complex web of galactic politics. One crisp autumn morning, Alina stood in her office aboard the newly constructed Terran command station, gazing down at the blue marble of Earth. Dr. Tanaka entered, her expression grave. "We've got a problem, Admiral," she said without preamble. "Our deep space probes have detected unusual activity in the Andromeda Galaxy. It bears similarities to the energy signatures we saw when the Enigma appeared." Alina felt a chill run down her spine. "You think it's coming back?" Tanaka shook her head, nodded. "Them. Our allies confirmed that the Enigma was just one of many. They're called the Void Heralds, and they're waking up across the universe." Before Alina could respond, an alarm blared through the station. Victor's voice came over the comm, tight with urgency. "Admiral, we've got multiple situations planetside. Purity First cells have launched coordinated attacks on alien embassies and integration centers across the globe." Alina's mind raced. External cosmic threats and internal strife, all coming to a head at once. This was the moment she had been dreading and preparing for in equal measure. "Victor, coordinate with planetary defense forces. I want those Purity First extremists contained yesterday," she ordered. "Tanaka, get our allies on the line. We need a united front against these Void Heralds." As her crew sprang into action, Alina made her way to the command center. The massive holographic display showed Earth, surrounded by a web of defense satellites and patrolling ships. But now, angry red dots began to appear across the planet's surface, indicating sites of Purity First attacks. "Status report. Alina barked as she entered. Purity First has hit major cities on every continent. An officer responded. They're using reverse-engineered alien tech. Our forces are engaged, but civilian casualties are mounting. Alina gritted her teeth. She had hoped it wouldn't come to this, but there was no choice now. Initiate protocol safeguard. And to those who have been deceived by Purity First's lies, I say this. It's not too late to choose a different path. We are on the brink of a new age, facing threats that would see all life in the universe extinguished. We cannot afford to be divided. Alina's eyes blazed with determination. Humanity has faced extinction before and survived. We've stared into the cosmic abyss and did not blink. Now we must stand united, not just as a species, but as part of a galactic community. As she finished her address, reports began flooding in. Inspired by her words, civilians were fighting back against the Purity First attackers. Alien residents, rather than fleeing, were using their unique abilities to protect their human neighbors. Alina allowed herself a small smile. It wasn't a total victory, but it was a start. Humanity was coming together in the face of adversity, proving that they were indeed worthy of the Precursor's legacy. But even as the situation on Earth began to stabilize, Alina's thoughts turned to the greater threat looming in the darkness between galaxies. The Void Heralds were coming, and this time they would be facing a united front of cosmic defenders. Prepare the fleet, she ordered, her voice filled with quiet resolve. It's time to take the fight to them. As the Terran command station hummed with activity, Alina Rodriguez stood tall, ready to lead humanity into its greatest challenge yet. The fate of not just Earth, but the entire universe hung in the balance, and she was determined to prove that humanity, for all its flaws, was equal to the task. The vastness of intergalactic space stretched before the combined fleet of Earth and its alien allies. Thousands of ships, each a marvel of engineering and the product of dozens of civilizations working in concert, hung in perfect formation. At their center, the Hawking, now heavily modified and serving as Admiral Rodriguez's flagship, pulsed with barely contained energy. Alina stood on the bridge, her enhanced senses allowing her to feel the anticipation and fear radiating from every being in the fleet. This was it, the culmination of everything they had fought for, everything they had built. Humanity's first major offensive beyond the borders of the Milky Way. Fleet status, she asked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Victor's holographic avatar materialized beside her. All ships report ready, Admiral. The Andromedans have taken point, with the Arcturian heavies providing rear support. Our new quantum entanglement comms are online, allowing real-time coordination across the entire fleet. Dr. Tanaka's voice chimed in next. The Void Herald incursion is accelerating. Our models predict they'll breach the gulf between galaxies in less than 72 hours. We need to establish our beachhead now if we're going to have any chance of stopping them. Alina nodded, taking a deep breath. Very well. Commence Operation Starbreak. All ships prepare for transgalactic jump. As the fleet began to move, alarms suddenly blared across the Hawking's bridge. Quantum fluctuations detected. An officer shouted, "Something's coming through." Before their eyes, space itself seemed to tear open. A massive shape emerged, dwarfing even the largest ships in the fleet. It was a Void Herald, but unlike anything they had encountered before. This was no mindless beast, but a being of terrifying intelligence and power. Its voice, if it could be called that, resonated through the minds of every being in the fleet. She HILDUREN of DHEPUREQRs, UHAVDDLA, EDVDINEVIT, but DE harvest must continue. Your Riza stay only Kurolongs your CUFFEURing. Alina felt fear threatening to overwhelm her, but she pushed it down. This was what they had prepared for. All ships, battle formations. Tanaka, analyze that thing. Find me a weakness. Victor, coordinate our defenses. We are not going down without a fight. The battle that ensued was beyond epic. Ships unleashed weapons that bent the very fabric of reality, while the Void Herald responded with attacks that snuffed out stars and shattered planets. Alina found herself at the center of it all, her mind linked with both her crew and the alien allies, coordinating a defense across impossible distances. But despite their preparation, despite the combined might of multiple galaxies, they were losing. The Void Heralds seemed to shrug off their most powerful attacks, while entire squadrons of ships winked out of existence at its merest touch. As the battle reached its darkest hour, with hope fading and despair setting in, Alina had an epiphany. The knowledge imparted by the precursors, the power awakened in humanity, it wasn't just about advanced technology or genetic potential. It was about understanding the very nature of reality itself. In that moment of clarity, Alina reached out not just with her mind, but with her very being. She touched the consciousness of every human in the fleet, every alien ally, even the distant minds of those back on Earth. And in doing so, she understood the true legacy of the precursors. "Everyone, listen to me," she broadcast, her voice carrying not just through comms, but through the very essence of those connected to her. The Void Heralds aren't invincible. They're the antithesis of creation, of life itself. But we, all of us together, we are life. We are creation. And united, we have the power to rewrite reality itself. As understanding dawned across the fleet, a miracle occurred. Ships that had been destroyed reformed from pure energy. Wounds healed instantaneously. And at the center of it all, humanity glowed with a power that defied comprehension. Alina raised her hand, and with her, trillions of beings across multiple galaxies raised theirs in unison. "We reject your reality," she declared to the Void Herald, her voice echoing across the cosmos, "and we substitute our own." A wave of pure creation erupted from the fleet, washing over the Void Herald. Where it touched, the cosmic horror began to unravel, its very existence denied by the collective will of countless civilizations united in purpose. The Void Herald writhed, its vast form twisting in impossible ways. "Theis is an otud." The end, it boomed, its voice fading as its form dissipated into nothingness. As the light faded, and the cosmos settled back into its normal rhythms, Alina found herself standing on the bridge of the Hawking, surrounded by her awestruck crew. They had done it. Against all odds, they had faced down the greatest threat the universe had ever known and emerged victorious. But Alina knew this was just the beginning. The other Void Heralds were still out there, and the cosmos held untold wonders and dangers yet to be discovered. Humanity and its allies had proven themselves equal to the task of cosmic guardians, but the greatest adventures and challenges still lay ahead. As the fleet regrouped, preparing for the journey home, Alina gazed out at the star-studded expanse before them. A smile played on her lips as she gave the order that would start the next chapter in humanity's grand cosmic odyssey. "Helm, set a course for the unknown. Let's see what's out there." The Hawking's engines flared to life, leading the fleet towards new horizons, new discoveries, and the endless possibilities that awaited them among the stars.